Bezos had an idea. When we launch a product, we write a press release and we describe all the nice things, all the amazing things that this will do. So let's write the press release before we start designing. Okay, so look at all the stuff they have to do. High resolution electronic paper display. More than 90,000 books are now available in the Kindle store. Like, they had to launch the Kindle store. They did negotiate with all these New York Times bestsellers. They've been working on Kindle for more than 3 years. Our top design objective was for Kindle to disappear in your hands, to get out of the way so you can enjoy your reading, says Jeff. If I asked every member of your team to describe your current goals, your current priorities, would I get the same answer from all of them? Have you ever walked out of a meeting thinking, we're all on the same page, only to find out later that everybody was reading from a different book? Listen, this is one of the biggest reasons good teams struggle. And here's the thing. It's not about talent. It's about clarity. This is crucial because without it, you can waste months of hard work. Alignment means your whole team shares the same understanding of three things: what needs to be done, why it matters, and who is responsible. When all three things are clear, your team's energy flows in the same direction. When they aren't, you get friction, wasted effort, and frustration. As Yogi Berra once said, if you don't know where you're going, you might not get there. It's a funny quote, but it's also the hard truth of leadership. The what is your destination. And one of the simplest ways to lock this down is with a one-page project charter. Objective, timeline, resources, roles. I've seen so many projects burn out because this step was skipped. I've also seen some high-stakes redesigns succeed because this was nailed. Now, the why is the purpose. It's what makes the work worth doing. Think of JFK's moonshot, right? In 1961, it says, I believe that this nation should commit itself to landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth. As the story goes, Kennedy later visited NASA and noticed a custodian mopping the floor. And he said, hello, sir. My name is Jack Kennedy. What do you do here, sir? And the custodian replies, well, Mr. President, I'm helping to put a man on the moon. He's mopping the floor, right? The thing is that single statement united 400,000 people on a clear, consequential vision. You need all those people to nail the details. See, the why creates personal purpose. It also creates shared purpose. And the third thing it creates is a lens for all of the decisions you make below. Now let's talk about who. Ownership matters. Delegation is not just throwing something over the wall, it's clarity. Be as clear on who owns the task as what the task is. If you've given the task to everybody, you've given the task to nobody. Now, Apple calls this the directly responsible individual. Amazon calls it the single-threaded leader. Whatever you call it, whether you're delegating a task to someone or the management of an entire business unit, you've got to be clear on who and what the bounds of their authority is. Let me demonstrate. Write down your current top goal. Now, imagine asking everyone in your team to do the same without looking at yours. How close would their answers be? Let me demonstrate purpose. Going to the grocery store is like a mundane thing, right? Getting garlic, it's all mundane. But last November, I had so much fun doing it with my brother. His 9-year-old was like gliding through these crowded aisles on her Heelys, those little shoes with the hidden wheels, and it just looked like her head was moving like this. And she was turning heads left and right, like this place was packed. Now, normally a packed grocery store makes shopping tedious. But this trip was for Thanksgiving, and it's our favorite holiday. So we're gathering like garlic and goat cheese and cranberries, and this is all for my brother's now famous stuffing. He makes it every year. But this was his first year hosting at home. All of our New England siblings were going to be there, and our father. This is going to be a big deal. And that gave the trip a clear, joyful purpose. It's what made this trip memorable. It was tied to something bigger. And amazingly, this was the last Thanksgiving of our youngest brother's life. He died of cancer just 9 months later. And I'm so thankful this little trip was so memorable because of our shared purpose. This is what shared purpose does for your team. This is the power of why. Now, let me talk about why as a lens for making decisions. Here we're going to look at Jiminy Peak Ski Resort, a small regional ski resort in Western Massachusetts. They have a vision statement that says Jiminy Peak believes in preserving the earth for future generations. This is a ski resort. Now, in 2007, they invested $4 million in a 386-foot wind turbine. That's about 20% of their annual revenue. Like, this is a major investment. So why make this major investment? Well, it aligns with their infinite goal of sustainability. And it was successful towards sustainability. It cuts like 7 million pounds of CO2 every year. But here's the thing. It paid for itself in a few years. It saves $1 million a year in electricity. It goes right to the bottom line. They also renovated a bathroom, and they installed flushless urinals. Now, the toilets are not usually strategically relevant. They're not usually something the CEO selects. But they selected flushless urinals because they have this vision statement of preserving the earth for future generations. Now, flushless urinals cost less to install, but they also save water. In fact, they save 480,000 gallons of water every year. Put that in snowmaking terms, bottom line terms for a place like Jiminy Peak, that's enough water to make 27 inches of snow on an acre of land. See, this vision is the lens for every project they undertake. And each project supports the environment while also delivering strong business results. Now, the cost of misalignment is clear. This is the simplest example I've ever been able to write. Picture two people trying to move a table without first deciding which direction they're going. It is frustrating. You would spend a lot of energy and make no progress. Unfortunately, this is most teams. Let me just add a little context on why this is your job as a leader. So you can see things that your team cannot. First of all, you see things because you are talented. There's a reason why you got to this level. There's a reason why you received this promotion, because you're talented. You're seeing themes that nobody else sees. You're seeing, we need to do this before we do that. Or my favorite planning meme, for those of you who's ever worked with me, on my wall, I've got a Far Side cartoon that says first pants, then shoes. Like, you see these things. You need to make it explicit so your team can see them too. The other thing is, being in a leadership role, you're in rooms that your team is not. So you're gaining context they're not seeing. You sit at a higher level, and so you can see a lot further and broader. You need to take what you see and synthesize it so that they have the benefits of the insights that they don't have, because they're not in the rooms that you are, and they're not as good as you are. There's a reason why you're in this role. Now, if that makes sense, you're already ahead of most managers. It's not about working longer. It's about working aligned. Now, some people think if I hire good people, they'll figure it out without me spelling it out. Even the most talented people can work against each other if they're aiming at different targets. And sometimes that can make it even harder because all these great people have very strong ideas. So one of the things you need to do is get all those great ideas on the table, figure out the best ones, and then set that as the path. Great people need clarity, maybe more. Now, NASA's moonshot succeeded, not just because they hired geniuses and let them all guess, because everybody knew the exact mission. Everybody had that same picture in their heads. There's a story out there where somebody bumps into Neil Armstrong and says, "What was it like having a mission to go to the moon?" And he said, "We never had a mission to go to the moon. We had a mission to go to the moon and come back safely," right? That's such a key element. And if you've ever seen Apollo 13, even when they got them to space and not to the moon, they got them back safely. Not just about great people. It's about clarity. Everybody in your industry is hiring the same people from the same schools, right? The difference is leadership and clarity of vision. So it's really important to nail that why. It's also really important to nail that what. Lots of cultures have learned this the hard way. I've read a lot of books about people learning this the hard way, and it's really clear. You just got to write it down. Amazon does this. The first time they ever did this was with the Kindle. The Kindle development started in 2004 and finished in 2007. It sold out in 5.5 hours. Like, it's a huge success. It's 18 years old. It turns 18 years old on November 19th. I'm a nerd, and I remember that the Kindle was announced on November 19th, 2007. Not because I remember from back then, because I study this stuff. So 2003 at Amazon, they had lots of projects going on. Some things were succeeding, some things were not. And they spent a lot of time trying to get back to alignment. That's not what I asked for. That's not what I asked for. These things are not working. Then Bezos had an idea. When we launch a product, we write a press release and we describe all the nice things, all the amazing things that this will do. The press release is geared towards the customer to say, you will love this so much. But we need to design things that our customers love. So what they started doing with the Kindle development is they wrote the press release first. So here it is, I think I said November 17th, November 19th, 2007, introducing Amazon Kindle. So what's all the great stuff in here? No piece, revolutionary portable reader lets customers wirelessly download books in less than a minute and automatically receive newspapers, magazines, and blogs. So right there, there's setting out like what this thing is. No PC required. No hunting for Wi-Fi hotspots. The first Kindles had cellular. Wi-Fi is so ubiquitous now. I don't think they do that anymore. Maybe they do. Okay, so look at all the stuff they have to do. High resolution electronic paper display. They call it e-ink now. Looks and reads like real paper, even in bright sunlight. So the e-ink technology had been developed, I think, somewhere else. And they were pulling it into Amazon. So this is a big deal. If you've ever used a Kindle, I wish I should have had my Kindle on the desk here. But if you've ever used a Kindle, like you can read them outside. That's hard. It's even better than some books. Some books are a little bit glossy. It's certainly better than something with a glossy screen, like a phone or something. More than 90,000 books are now available in the Kindle store. Like they had to launch the Kindle store. They did negotiate with all these New York Times bestsellers, and they got almost all of them. Only 11 bestsellers they didn't get. They set a price, which they had to negotiate with all these publishers. We've been working on Kindle for more than 3 years. Our top design objective was for Kindle to disappear in your hands, to get out of the way so you can enjoy your reading, says Jeff. We also wanted to go beyond the physical book. Kindle is wireless, so whether you're lying in bed or riding a train, you can think of a book, you can have it in less than 60 seconds, no computer needed. You do your shopping directly from the device. No monthly wireless bills or commitments. Reads like paper. Content. Holds hundreds of books in 10.3 ounces. So right here, I don't know if these were the original parameters that they had in the press release that they used to design this with. And the press release, they were written in 2004. But I can easily imagine. So here's memory and here's weight. So I can easily imagine negotiations happening here, right? During the, they're saying, well, I can't get a battery that does, let's see, here's battery life. Customers can leave the Kindle wirelessly connected on and recharge every other day, or turn wireless off and read for a week. Recharges in 2 hours. So right in here, there's specs for a battery, specs for the charging system. And that has a big impact on weight, right? Batteries are just heavy. And so I can imagine that they're saying like, hey, can I half the battery life to get within 10.3 ounces or within 8 ounces, say, or am I allowed to go to 10 ounces and, hit this battery life? Now your trade-offs become really, really clear. You can go test that very easily. And otherwise, you're not going to see the trade-off. You're just going to say, I need to get 2 weeks. Here's my battery. It makes it all so clear. So I hope you've seen a little bit of how important it is to write this stuff down. You need to take the intrinsic and make it extrinsic for your team. They don't have the benefit of all the insights you do. Your job is to get those insights out of your head and down on paper. Use your team to do it. You can use AI to do it. I've written a whole blog on using AI where you can just record a stream of consciousness and then clarify it using one of my prompts and turn this into a project charter or a product spec. It's all easy. That'll be in the show notes. If you think you're already aligned, congratulations. In my experience, most teams are not. And it's very simple. Ask the people on your team what they think number one priority is. Ask your peers what they think your number one priority is in your department. Ask your boss what he thinks the number one priority is in your department. And the job is to get everybody saying the same thing. Then you have alignment. And alignment isn't something you do once. It's a continuous practice. You need to clarify the what, connect it to the why, and name the who. When you do that, you'll see your team move faster and with less friction because everybody is working towards the same goal. I'm Evan Hickok. This has been the Lighthouse Leadership Podcast. See you next time. Ciao.